My name is Saul Hernandez. I serve as Deputy Chief of Staff and Legislative Director for Congressman G.K. Butterfield. Mr. Butterfield represents the 1st Congressional District of North Carolina that currently includes 24 counties from the city of Durham in the west to where the Outer Banks start in the east. But like Molly, no beach for us either. We go from the Virginia-North Carolina border in the north to the city of New Bern in the south. Mr. Butterfield is chairman of the 46-member Congressional Black Caucus and is a member of the House Committee on Energy and Commerce. He's on the health subcommittee, the Communications and Technology subcommittee, and the subcommittee on Commerce, Manufacturing, and Trade. And so in addition to the other things that I do in the office, I serve as Mr. Butterfield's principal advisor for health policy, and so that's why I'm here today. A little over a year ago, Congressman Butterfield joined Congressman Gus Bilirakis, who represents a district in Florida, in introducing the Orphan Product Extension, Now Accelerating Cures and Treatments Act. We call it the OPEN Act. We do love acronyms on the Hill, as you all know. Some 95% of rare diseases have no FDA-approved treatment, meaning the vast majority of those living with a rare disease are forced to use medications off-label or not at all. Enactment of the OPEN Act is an important first step in leveraging existing treatments and data to help advance care for the rare disease community. Did I advance? Once enacted, the OPEN Act will provide 6 months of additional exclusivity for existing treatments, and that includes major market drugs, orphan drugs, and biologics that are repurposed to treat a rare disease. And that's a tremendous incentive for these companies producing these treatments. I'm happy to report that key provisions of the OPEN Act were included in the 21st Century Cures Act, which passed the House by a vote of 344 to 77. That means we're one step closer to the OPEN Act becoming a reality. It's now up to the Senate, though, to pass S 1421, which is the Senate companion to the OPEN Act, or if not, the standalone bill to include its provisions in a larger vehicle. Congressman Butterfield has made passage and enactment of the OPEN Act a personal priority and is committed to being an advocate for the rare disease community. We see the OPEN Act as a tremendous opportunity to address the urgent needs of people living with rare diseases so that they are able to live normal lives. These are people like Kayla Martinez. When Kayla was 15 months old, she was diagnosed with neonatal onset multi-symptom inflammatory disease. It's a rare disease that results in headaches, seizures, and the potential for intellectual disabilities. Doctors and researchers at NIH identified an existing arthritis drug they thought might treat Kayla's condition. Now, a decade later, thanks to that drug that was initially developed to treat arthritis, Kayla is living a happy and healthy life. In 2013, the drug that was used to treat Kayla was approved by the FDA for use in patients with her same disease. So Kayla's story isn't unique. We know that 30 million people live with the rare disease, but the success she saw with the repurposed drug is unique. And that's why we need the OPEN Act, so that successful treatment of rare diseases becomes the rule and is no longer the exception. There are at least 7,000 known rare diseases, but very few therapies have been specifically developed to treat them. With the multi-billion-dollar cost of bringing a new drug to market, biopharmaceutical companies are hesitant to invest the time and capital necessary for their development. But many existing drugs that were developed to treat common diseases have the potential to be effective at combating rare diseases, as we saw in Kayla's case. In fact, some people have taken approved drugs for off-label use, but their clinical effectiveness is often not tracked or studied. So absent clinical studies for use in treating rare diseases, physicians and patients are left to guess appropriate dosing amounts and even whether or not the drug is effective. And to further complicate matters, off-label use of drugs is not reimbursed by insurance companies, and so people of normal means are often unable to afford their use without experiencing difficult and unnecessary financial burdens. So instead of spending a decade or more and more than $2.5 billion just to bring a new drug to market, it makes sense to us to repurpose existing drugs for use in treating rare diseases. And so that was the impetus for the Open Act. The Open Act incentivizes manufacturers to repurpose existing drugs for rare disease applications, and in doing so, biopharmaceutical companies are rewarded by receiving an additional 6 months of market exclusivity on top of the treatment's existing patent life. And again, this is a big, big advantage for manufacturers. The Open Act was modeled after the highly successful Best Pharmaceuticals for Children Act that provides an additional 6 months of market exclusivity to drug companies that study existing drugs for use in children. Since its enactment in 1998, BCPA has incentivized manufacturers to seek over 400 label changes. The Open Act has the potential to result in hundreds of new treatments for people living with rare diseases that are safe, effective, and affordable. It also fosters an environment ripe for investment and job creation, and that's certainly welcome news for many of my boss's constituent businesses in the Research Triangle Park and our constituent research institutions like Duke University and North Carolina Central University, located in the city of Durham, which coincidentally is the city of medicine. But in order to make this bill a reality, we need your help. Please contact your member of Congress and ask them to co-sponsor the Open Act. It's HR 971. Even though the Open Act and its provisions were included in the House-passed Cures bill, it's important that we continue to support the standalone House bill. Even more importantly, though, call your senators and encourage them to co-sponsor S 1421. That's the Senate companion bill to our House Open Act. That was introduced by Senator Orrin Hatch of Utah and Senator Amy Klobuchar of Minnesota. When you talk to them, tell them it's good policy, tell them it's supported by over 150 patient advocacy groups, many of whom are represented here today, and we greatly appreciate your support. But also tell them, and most importantly, tell them that its passage will, without a doubt, save lives and help to bring relief to some of the 30 million people who have lived with rare disease and without adequate treatment options for far too long. So again, thank you for having me here today. I greatly appreciate your passion and support, and please know that Mr. Butterfield is a committed partner in helping to bring about treatments and cures for rare diseases. Thank you very much.